happy last week with the first half at Tottenham. Was it similar today, or did City just not allow you to play first half?
They were too strong today. We were not good enough. I said before, if we want to push the result on our side, we need to be in our best shape. This was not the case. We were in our very best in the last 20 meters of the match, but the other 80 meters clearly not. We had a lot of ball losses. We lacked sharpness and precision, and maybe most important, we lacked confidence. I did not feel that we believed in escaping with short balls, and we did not really believe in escaping with long balls. Everything was a bit like, I don't know, like we had something to protect, which was not the case, but it felt like it. Second half, we tried to change, have a bit shorter connections in the build-up to help the team to have more players behind the ball and escape maybe the pressure a bit better. They scored, like I said, it was until then, at least we were fantastic in the box and around the box, very, very good. And then we had a deflected shot and a goal, and yeah, that decided the game today. We had a good reaction, but it was a reaction with emotions, with the stadium, with intensity, but never with our highest quality. And then you cannot expect to win. You can always, with a bit of luck, of course, do an equalizer. But in general, was a deserved win for City.
We saw you in the first half. It looked as though you were trying to get messages over to the right-hand side of the field. Was there a problem down there?
There were many problems, but you cannot. It's the other side. It's in the stadium. In general, I think we, like I said, we were active, but active in a very deep zone and not where we wanted to be. Too many easy ball losses. Not enough players around to escape with short passes. So, yeah.
It was talked about before the game as a battle of tactics. Was there anything noticeably different that you didn't expect from City, or was it just purely down to underperformance?
Yeah, it was a very. First of all, you need to also accept you cannot come to a stadium or to a match like this and expect the results to be for sure on our side. First of all, and it's always like this. It's about performance and being on your top level, and we just have to accept that we were not on our top level. City played a huge part in this because they were on top level and did not allow us. So to make people underperform is also a kind of performance. We did not do this, and the reason there are many reasons for it, and it's like this, a very complex game, and on this kind of level you need a overall top performance, which we did not have today.
The injury to Reece James looked a little worrying. Is there any early news on that?
No, it's very painful. He twisted his ankle, and let's see.
Difficult game, really hard-fought battle. How disappointed are you with that?
Yeah, disappointed with the result. It was not our best performance. I have to admit it. Especially in the first half or the first 60 minutes, it was hard to get out. We didn't create chances. We lost the ball too easily. They dominate us. After the goal, we had a good reaction. We pushed a bit, but it was not enough to get something from the game.
Was the first half similar to last Sunday at Tottenham, or was it because City just wouldn't let you play today?
Well, sometimes when you play against tough opponents, they did well. They were at their best level. We couldn't keep the ball as we like to do, or to get out of the pressure and to find some spaces. We made so many mistakes, that we normally don't make in terms of passing, of touches, But we tried to stay in the game, and in a short corner we lost the game, which is very disappointing.
A lot has been talked about the tactics of both sides up against each other. Did you notice anything different from City from last season? Jack Grealish, of course, on your side, one big difference.
Well, at the end of the day, we are two great teams with great players, with great ambition. We have played a few times, in the last couple of months. Every game is different. Every competition is different. We have said this before. That every game is a new challenge. And today we lost. We are disappointed. We lost a chance to get 3 important points. But now we have to analyze to improve what we didn't do that well, and move on to the next game, because there is still a long season. We didn't lose the league today. If we win, we knew that we didn't win the league today. So we have to keep working. So it's still a tough and a long season.
Thanks, Cesar.
Thank you.
Trouble the goalkeeper. De Bruyne for Cancelo, who's made a couple of yards, dragged his shot. Jesus turning and scoring! Champions of Europe 0, champions of England 1.
Showdown of the Champions League champion and the Premier League champion. It is Manchester City that come out on top with a 1-0 victory. It was a chess match of the highest proportions, and Younes Talks joins us right now. Younes, this was a statement game coming from Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. What does that statement say, though?
Well, I mean, ahead of the game, all the talk was about Thomas Tuchel beating Pep Guardiola, last 3 times that they've met, maybe out-coaching him, out-thinking him. And I think there's a little bit of truth in that, I suppose. But, I never bought into it. It just happens sometimes because we often forget that Pep Guardiola has beaten Thomas Tuchel in the Bundesliga 5 times out of the 5 games. So, has Thomas Tuchel learned? Perhaps, I suppose. But what we found out is that the champions of the Premier League are back. We wonder ahead of this game, Aaron, because there has been a gauntlet thrown to Manchester City. 3 massive away games, starting with this one at Chelsea, away in the Champions League to Paris Saint-Germain, and away to Liverpool, right? So they've had to answer their form early in the season, and they have done that. And they have done that in an emphatic way, right? And you can quite clearly say that Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea got it wrong with the starting lineup. If they got the result out of that, Aaron, I think we're talking differently. And they look good and well organized in the first half defensively. But when you play with 3 center backs and 3 defensive-minded midfielders, you better get it right in the end. And they didn't do that.
This game ended 1-0, but this could have easily been 3-0 with those saves by Mendy, keeping Jack Grealish out of this. This chess match between Tuchel and Pep Guardiola was on full display. What were the adjustments that Pep did that could have made this a 3-0 game?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that Pep Guardiola did, and we have to give him credit, just as we do to Thomas Tuchel when we've seen some games, is that seeing that strong and robust midfield of Chelsea with Jorginho and N'Golo Kante and Kovacic, he simply played around him. They really did. They used the width of the pitch, and Jack Grealish was tremendous. On the other side, Cancelo on that side as well. Gabriel Jesus looked good, on the right hand side, and they nullified that midfield, right? Even though when the pitch was there, they still won their battles from time to time. So Rodri, once again, massive. It was good for Manchester City that he was back because he was questionable as well. So yes, I mean, you look at the chances in the second half, Chelsea had to open up and Manchester City saw a little bit of space on countering. And Grealish had a couple of chances. Mendy was tremendous. Gabriel Jesus was stopped by Jorginho on the line as well. So I don't think you can doubt who the better team was. And quite frankly, the better team won. I mean, if you look at City, they were more aggressive, better pressing, better in recovery of the ball, better possession throughout the match as well. So it was tremendous. And they've done it with Bernardo Silva doing God's work in the center of the pitch. I mean, that man has ran more than anybody else. We've seen that a couple years ago. I don't think we saw that last season, but he was certainly back at his best.
Speaking of being back, Aymeric Laporte was back, and he joined Ruben Diaz in that central defense for Manchester City. And with Timo Werner coming off of a match that he scored a goal, Lukaku is well on a hot streak. You would have expected that this Chelsea attack would have been a little bit more lethal. We did not see that today, Younes. Why was that?
Well, because simply Chelsea didn't have the ball. That's what happens sometimes when Manchester City are at their best, right? I think Lukaku is probably better off by himself there. Timo Werner, I could understand that sort of because you knew that Manchester City are going to have possession most of the time. They're going to press high. So I suppose if you're Timo Werner, that's one of those games that you're going to see some space in behind the back four. And by the way, he did. Timo Werner had half a chance here and there, but Lukaku was quiet. But then again, Manchester City didn't do anything really in the first half. And, before we start absolutely gloating about Manchester City, we do have to point out that they missed the number 9. I don't buy into Phil Foden being false 9 or Kevin De Bruyne playing higher, or sometimes number 9. They missed that. They missed that sort of a player that they needed to get. Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's a waste of talent if you're putting Phil Foden as a false 9 and Kevin De Bruyne in that position from time to time, because they are at their best when they run at you from deep in the midfield. Today, they did fine, but nothing more, right? I mean, for me, it's absolute nonsense, and Pep Guardiola and Manchester City have got to fix that very, very quickly.
Incidentally, that's a landmark win for Pep Guardiola. First as Manchester City manager, more than any other City boss in their history, overtaking Les McDowell from the 1950s and 60s. The records keep on coming, but the most important thing today was the 3 points. Is that something of a statement after what's been said in the last 7 days about City?
Yeah, I think it's always a statement if you can go to Stamford Bridge, especially and win, especially against the way Tuchel has Chelsea playing. But I think in terms of the league, like I said before, if you can go away from home and take a point when you're challenging for the title, it's good. But if you can take 3, it's even better. So for me, it's a massive statement. That's basically saying, look, we're here and we're up for this title challenge. So kind of bring it on.
You were hinting beforehand about Chelsea. People sort of saying that come to the conclusion they were almost unbeatable. So what does it do for City to go there and keep a clean sheet and, as Sean says, put that marker down?
It does wonders for City, but I don't think they will ever believe that they can't go anywhere and win. They're such a talented team. I think what it does do is it almost breathes a sigh of relief for the rest of the league as well, because everybody's watching the same game. Everyone's thinking, wow, this new Chelsea team look unbelievable. How can we beat them? How can we score against them? How do we keep a clean sheet against them? And I think all of a sudden the groundswell that I've been sort of feeling over the last week or two is everybody, even my dad said to me a couple of nights ago when we were having a drink together, he said Chelsea are going to win the league, and he never sort of has an opinion so early in the season like this. And I'm like, things can change, City and Liverpool will play them and things will change. But at the time I was sort of, if you had put a gun to my head and said who were going to win it, I would have probably said the same thing. And I think everybody was swaying towards Chelsea just for those reasons. Now I think people are thinking, right, okay, everybody is still beatable up there. This is going to be an unbelievable race. No one's going to run away with it. Manchester City, obviously reigning champs, just gone to champions-elect, who everybody seems to think at the minute, and won and outplayed them in every shape, every way. They were the better team and deserved it. So I think it's just made, the next few days and people start questioning again, right, I think everyone's going to have a new opinion on who's going to win the league again. Some people still think it's Chelsea and they've got a great chance, but I just think lots of people are getting carried away, and me and myself with the Chelsea situation, but it's just shown they are human after all.
Indeed. They could have had more than the 1 goal, but Gabriel Jesus got it. He was honest to admit in that particular instance he got a little bit of luck, but they earned that luck today, didn't they?